to the Aaron L Show. Like, comment, subscribe down at the bottom. Man, we're gonna talk about this Young Thug situation, man, because you know, we seen the results. Young Thug, he out on probation, facing a RICO. Basically, they used him as the YSL leader, the kingpin, and the state of Atlanta, charged him and a whole slew of his friends with a RICO charge. They got a lot of them boys up under a lot of time that they was looking at. But as this case went on, it just became a mess, a fiasco. You could just see the way the district attorney is presenting the case. And they had a lot of evidence, but the way they was trying to present it, they was going about it the wrong way in certain areas, because I feel like they felt the case was such a dead bang case that, long as even though they was all over the place a lot of the times, and they really wasn't just banging, they was banging home a point, and when that point wasn't getting made, they would go another route. And if they couldn't make a point like that, they would just keep using witnesses and different evidence, because they felt like, hey, look, the community is always saying these YSL, YSL, that name is ringing in Atlanta around all these crimes, these shootings, these murder scenes. Everything is trickling back to them. So they definitely was barking up the right tree. But, like they say, it ain't what you know, is what you can prove. And that was the problem. They knew Young Thug was involved in a lot of stuff, or people he hung around was involved in a lot of stuff, allegedly. But you have to prove it in a court of law, upon a reasonable doubt, and his lawyer, Young Thug lawyer, was able to create a reasonable doubt that this isn't him. You really don't have a lot of hardcore evidence on Thug. What you did is you had a lot of people around him committing crimes that you knew he associated with. And because he was a celebrity and you kind of knew he was the one orchestrating all this, but you couldn't really, you had A and you had C. You just couldn't put B in there to make it make sense. You couldn't make it make sense. So that's what the problem was. The DA was having a hard time with making it make sense. So, as this trial goes forward over a year and some distance, it went a long time, man. They brought, Lil Woody and a whole bundle of cats to the stand. Gunna, pled out. A lot of people that Thug associated with pled out. One guy I seen get on there, he was already doing life in prison. He came and pled out on his part. A couple of cats got up there and pled out for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Some cats left with probation with stipulations. So now we get down to Thug, and we all knew this was going to happen because the trial was a mess. Thug probably could have went to a jury trial and the jury find him not guilty, or have a hung jury. Because some probably go, man, look at all this stuff and want to convict Thug. Then you're going to have a whole bunch of them going, man, listen, this case was a mess. Everybody ready to go home. This case is almost 2 years old. You got the jury in there Monday through Friday. These is people of your peers, people who got family and friends at home and got a life. And they've been sitting in this courtroom a year and a half, almost 2 years, Monday through Friday, just listening to a lot of disgruntled witnesses that the district attorney basically got by their balls, and got them, basically all this time hanging over these cats' head and luring them to the stand to try to convict Thug. You know what I mean? But what ended up happening is like I say, the case fell apart, and now we get to the point where Thug pleads guilty and he goes home. But he went home with stipulations, and that's what I want to talk about. Now, Thug, if I'm not mistaken, Thug took a 15-year probation. Now, given I used to live, a street life a while back, I took a 5-year probation before. And I had to report probably 2.5 years out that 5. And because I was doing good and I worked and I changed my life, truly changed my life and truly completed that probation, that I was able to not report after 2.5 years, did another 1.5 years clean, not reporting, and I was able to terminate that probation. Now, Thug's situation is he's sitting back on 15 years probation. 7.5 years of that probation, he got a report. And he has a 20-year joint suspension. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting back, because they'll tell you got 7.5 years probation to report, but we don't really know the stipulations of his probation. His probation could have a 4-way search clause. Any car he's in, they could pull him over and search the vehicle, whether it's his registered vehicle or not. They could, 4-way search clause his home. They could drug test him once a week. It's a whole slew of things they could do to Thug on probation. And then the judge let him know that, hey, look, if you violate this probation and come back in this courtroom, you're going to come back and see me and it's not going to be sweet. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting back to myself thinking, was this a setup? Because if I was Thug, I probably would have said something like, you know what, this is a 15-year probation, 7.5 years monitored, 20-year tail. You know what? I would, let's negotiate this. Since we at the table negotiating, let's negotiate the fact that, just going to give me 10 years. I've been down 2 already. Going to give me 10. You're going to hit me with the 85% because it was a violent offense, but I got 6.5 left. And let's knock that probation down to 5 years. You know what I mean? Or 10 years. Let me do 10 in and 10 out on probation. But take that 20-year tail off me. You got to be sometimes, and that be the problem, when you at the negotiating table when you're facing jail time, is that the guys that want to go home real bad, whether they're going to change their life when they get home or not. But those guys that want to go home real bad is the ones who get the most messed up deal. The guy who sit back and say to himself, man, I'm going to have to do some time. You know what I mean? So he already wrapping that around his head. So when he would have heard the 15 years, 7.5 years probation monitored with a 20-year tail, he probably would have told you, nah, man, nah, not no 20-year tail with the 15 probation and the 7.5 years monitored. He like, nah, look, let's come back to the table. Let's do 10 years in custody, credit for time served, and I'll do 10 years probation when I come home. That's still 20 years. You know what I mean? That's 20 years. I do 10 years probation when I come home. 9 times out of 10, you're going to do about 5, 6, we're going to do about 5 years of that probation. You're going to be in a position to start petitioning to get it dropped early. Thug got money. He going to be able to get a lawyer to, do something like that. But when you're talking about a 15-year probation with this 20-year tail, and this 20-year tail only goes away after you complete the 15-year probation, given the type of lifestyle Thug lived 2 years ago, if Thug don't truly change his life, man, he's going to come home guarded right now. Man, I ain't leaving the house, man. You know what I mean? Man, I'm on this probation, bro. Cat's going to be calling Thug. Going to be, man, I ain't coming out, man. I got this probation. Man, about a year going to go by, year and a half. Even if he make it that long, you know what I'm saying? But, Thug say he going to change his life, man. I wish the best to the brother. But if he don't change his life, man, about a year and a half going to go by, 2 years. I done been on probation. This will start feeling like you ain't on no paperwork no more. 3 years go by, 4. Man, you going to be done forgot about all that. 5 years go by. Man, you done forgot all about that, man. And then you catch a case. Yeah, buddy. They going to act like you just got out of jail. They going to be like, oh, you back. Bro, it's been 5 years. They going to act like you just got, man, you just got out. They going to be like, oh, you back. Oh, Mr. Thug, you back. Oh, okay. You had the 15-year probation with the 20-year tail. They're going to be talking about the same thing when you were just in court 5 years ago like you never left. Thug, I'm going to tell you like this. The odds is against him not completing his probation, and he going to go do that 20. To be honest with you, man. The odds is going to be against this boy on this one, man. He going to literally have to change his whole life, bro. And if he don't, we gonna see Thug in there doing a dub. When he was at the negotiating table, what he should have did was he should have took that, man, look, I'm not taking no 15 years probation with no 7.5 years monitored with a 20-year tail. If this 15-year probation don't get completed, man, look, let's sit back and let's negotiate this a little bit better, man. Look, I take 10 years. I already been down 2. I take 10. They're going to give me 85% off the 10 because it's a violent offense. That's 8.5 years. I done been down 2. That's going to knock it down to 6.5. You know, you probably going to do another soft nickel up in there. Probably, because they got programs and stuff you could do to get time off and so many different early kicks and all the stuff they doing nowadays. Out that 6.5 Thug would have had left, man, I'd be surprised if Thug did 4.5, he'd have been home. 4.5, he'd have been home. With a 10-year probation, probably kicked at 5.5, 6. See, now you got the people to the point where they feel like for all this you was arrested for, you only did 2 years in custody to fight this case? Man, if we going to let you out right now, they going to have to do something that make them feel like it was a fair deal. That's why they said the 15-year probation with a 7.5-year, you have to report, which we know reporting could be anything to drug testing once a week, calling me once a week. If I pop up at your home and you're not there, that's a violation. Man, they will violate you for anything. Anything. So it's like for you to take a 15-year probation with a 7.5-year, I'm going to come report however they want you to report, once a week, once a month, every 2 weeks, drug test once a week. I mean, however they want to play the game. I want to pop up at your house, every 2 weeks. They do random pop-ups. You know what I mean? You could be in there chilling, blowing dro, chilling, ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? Your partner in there hanging. He got the little pistol on his lap. You ain't really tripping. Ain't a knock at the door. Your girl just popped the door. Who is it? Y'all in there hanging. It's probation officer. 2 niggas sitting on the couch with pistols. It's violation. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Just that easy. Man, you got to let them come in. Even if it ain't no pistol sitting out, you got to let them come in. You know what I mean? You got to stand back. They going to come in and get to looking around and, where's your sleeping area at and get to looking around and, you know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, probation officers, they be having a pistol on their hip. They like the police. You know what I mean? They like the police when they come to your crib. They come in strapped. Just in case it's something, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're a convicted felon. They going to come at you just like that. So, I mean, my thing is, man, if Thug, I'm going to tell you, if Thug could make it 2 solid years from today, he got a high chance of probably making it all the way through. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, if you're going to violate, you're going to violate quick. If Thug going to mess this up, he going to be back in jail within the next 6 months to a year. If he going to mess this up and he not going to make it through, 6 months to a year, Thug be back in jail, violation, facing that 20 tail he got on him. You know what I mean? If Thug going to be out and he going to change his life and do everything he said he going to do, rap a little bit about a little different stuff, keep his same swag, but just a lot of the down and dirty drill music that he was kind of coming with. But he had drill with a swag. It wasn't just hardcore drill. He had a little vibe to his music. It wasn't just all drill, but it was some drill in there. But if he going to switch that up, he ain't rocking with that YSL no more. He gonna go in and move out the way, man, and just kind of keep it low key. If Thug could make it a couple of years, man, I think that brother would be pretty decent. But I'm just telling you, man, that deal that the DA gave him, they know deep down in their heart, man, it's a high probability that he's gonna violate that. 15-year probation, 7.5 years monitored, with a 20-year joint suspension, basically. That's what we will call that, a joint suspension, that 20-year tail. That means we supposed to give you this 20 years, but we going to suspend it and put you on this probation. But guess what? If you violate this probation, that 20 going to be sitting there waiting on you. You know what I mean? So, and shout out to Seti Nash. Seti Nash, man, I watch Seti Nash a lot, man. He followed that case through and through. And it's a lot of the people. I think his boy AK or something like that. I think the boy named AK or 357 or something like that. I be checking the cat out. Got the little high top fade. Be wearing a little long shaggy beard at the bottom. He a cool cat. I be kind of checking his channel while, man, I'm going to peep him out. Academics. He was following the, Whack 100. All these cats end the sentence. You know what I mean? Shout out to that boy. You know what I mean? Blood on the Razor Wire, Chad. I watch all these podcasters. You know what I mean? I want to get my channel big like they did. But, they put their work in and stay consistent. You know what I mean? But they was kind of keeping me informed on the Young Thug situation, man. And you know, shout out to Young Thug, man. I hope that brother stay out, man, and don't violate that probation, man. Because if he do, man, that's gonna be a long 20-year bid he gonna have to get in. But you know, this the Aaron L Show. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe at the bottom, man. Share this channel, man. Help your boy get popping, man. I got some people that really rock with me, man, and I'm rocking with y'all, man. So come fuck with your boy.